Craig, last time we talked, you were pretty certain that they would come to this plea, some sort of plea deal, that this would not get in front of a jury for reasons on both sides. And so, man, I got to give you credit. You made this call that this sort of agreement would happen.
It's amazing what money does in the criminal justice process, Mike. Short of Alvin not having or having the resources to kind of make this go away, and a very skilled defense attorney in Richard Schoenfeld, or he had two, Richard Schoenfeld and David Shasnoff, he was able to reach a resolution that I think is favorable, honestly, for everyone involved, for Darnell Green, for the Clark County DA's office, for Alvin Kamara, for the Saints, and for the Saints fans. So this could have gone, and there was always a chance that this could have gone south. I mean, I think I've couched my analysis in this saying, look, there is a chance that this goes to trial. There's a chance that he is convicted. I mean, I think he would have been convicted, 100% would have been convicted at trial of this. But yeah, this is a huge win for the Saints. It's a huge win for Alvin Kamara. We don't know the terms of the settlement, but I suspect north of mid six figures is probably what was paid out, maybe even seven figures. And so Darnell Green is well compensated, and his lawyer, Tony Busby, is well compensated. And so it's a good day all around, I think, even considering the situation that caused this incident.
And people brought up about the community service time in a certain period of time, but the judge can always stretch that out, can't he?
Yes, absolutely. And the other thing, it's only 30 hours. I mean, it's basically 2 days and another 6 hours. He could get that done pretty quickly. And the other thing is Alvin Kamara is not doing litter abatement or on the side of the highway or anything like that. He'll be going to schools and using himself and this incident as an example and telling kids to, doing a scared straight kind of thing.
One of the things we don't know about will be the NFL, because they have always taken the stand that it doesn't matter to them. Does not matter. If you were convicted in front of a jury or not, that they've done this in other cases, come in here and suspend a player. And that's just an educated guess. Could it be 4 games, 5 games, 6 games, 8 games? Who knows with the commissioner on this particular part. But to have this kind of settled for the most part before training camp really sort of takes Alvin Kamara now to that he can get back to business, I guess is the best way to put it.
I completely agree. He, being a criminal defendant and having something like this over your head, even if your lawyer is telling you, Alvin, we've got this under control, we're going to get this resolved, all of that, it takes a toll and it takes a stress on a criminal defendant. I don't care who you are, whether you're Donald Trump or Alvin Kamara or some guy who's got a misdemeanor marijuana charge or DUI charge. Being in the criminal justice system takes a mental toll on you, and it makes you less effective at your personal relationships, your job, all those things. So, yes, this is a huge lift off Alvin Kamara's shoulders, and a huge, obviously the Saints can deal with the suspension. I suspect it'll be coming down pretty soon, but as we know, the NFL, they kind of just do whatever they want. But I think it would come down pretty soon after this happens.
Yeah, and I think for the Saints, I'd rather take it early. Listen, if you're going to suspend them early, because if you sort of in the hunt here in the NFC South, which you should be, I want him on the field in December. That's just the way I would feel about it. Look, in September and October, listen, I'll take my lumps and I'll go with Kendra Miller and I'll go with Jamal Williams and Taysom, and then hopefully get him back somewhere during the season. You brought up the fact of the financial situation with the individual who was beaten up in this case, and you brought up, so you're talking about $600,000 to maybe $1 million that this kind of would go to. Now, again, that's just sort of a guess, because I don't know if we'll really ever know the exact amount.
So this is just a rule of thumb, is usually in a civil lawsuit that involves injury, you're looking at 3 times damages. Now, we know he had $105,000 in medical bills, and you're limited in your restitution in the criminal case. So basically you're allowed to get real loss in a criminal case in restitution. So, pain and suffering, mental distress, all of that, you can't get any of that. You just get your economic damages. So we know that, but then we don't know if Darnell Green had any kind of disfigurement, which I would assume he had partial disfigurement, at least for, some time after the injury. We don't know whether he missed work. We don't know any of those things. So, I'm thinking there's probably at least another $50,000 to $100,000 in sort of other damages that are not part of the criminal case. And that would put it close to $600,000. And then you've got to think that Tony Busby, who was Darnell Green's lawyer, and Darnell Green had a tremendous amount of leverage over Kamara and his attorneys, because if they didn't agree to a settlement, then Kamara has to go to trial on a felony charge the day before training camp. So I would assume there's probably a premium in there for that as well. And I would think, I think you're getting, I don't know that it's guaranteed 7 figures, but I think it's pretty close to that.
Craig, one of the things, too, is a lot of people don't like to hear this, but it's true in life. And you're a lawyer. You understand it. Nothing's fair. And you brought up the fact that if you can afford a high-price attorney, and he's dealt with these sort of cases before and dealt with them in Las Vegas, this is about as good as you're going to get if you're Alvin Kamara for what he got put on him. But, man, his attorney, again, the experience, the knowledge, and this is why you're paying the kind of money that you're paying for him to sort of get you the best deal you can. Looking at this, Craig, could he ask for anything better?
He could not. This is the best possible deal. A dismissal was never going to be on the table because of the closed-circuit TV cameras in the casino. So even if Darnell Green did not want to go forward with this, there was always a chance that the DA's office could say, let's go forward, and we're just going to use the CCTV footage to convict you. Now, as a practical matter, I don't think that's likely, but that is something that could have been done, and that's why this is a good deal, and that's why getting a misdemeanor in this case is probably the best you could hope for versus a dismissal or some type of diversion or non-judicial adjudication of the matter.
Craig, we don't know this for a fact, but I don't know of any other issues Kamara has had off the field. So when you're looking at this, would that have been part of the consideration when you're trying to do this from a standpoint? It was a big offense of what happened, but that had this gone in front of a jury, in front of a judge, the fact that he hadn't had any other things off the field that we know about, that has to be a plus for him.
I completely agree. Typically, if he had another misdemeanor battery or another case that had been pled down or something like that, I don't think he would have gotten this deal. And yes, having a clean record always helps a defendant who is facing a criminal charge, without question. And Kamara has really, since he's been in the league, he, other than this incident, has been a very, very solid citizen. I think the worst thing other than this incident, I think the worst thing was he was pictured at a bar without a mask during COVID, and it was a bar in Metairie too. So I don't think it will. I don't think. He's basically been a very, very solid citizen and a very, very good. This is completely out of character for him, and I think that's certainly something that Chasnoff and Schoenfeld argued, and it certainly made a difference with the DA's office. At this point in the case, you're really not dealing with the judge. The judge is going to go along generally with what the parties agree to, and unless it's a very, I know this is a violent felony, but something extreme like a a sex case or something like that. But in something like this, the judges, the victim signed off on it. The DA is okay with it. Alvin's done what he needs to, or is going to do what he needs to do to resolve the probation. The judge isn't really going to have a problem with this. So you're really negotiating with the district attorney. And usually the district attorney, the first thing they point to is the defendant's criminal record when you're asking for a misdemeanor on a felony. And if he has a prior misdemeanor, it's almost never going to happen.